Okay, we're ready.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To our guests and our audience, we'd like to welcome you to our fourth part series during the Islamic Heritage Month about the history of the nation Islam. In the prior weeks, we dealt with Temple number 1, Detroit's history, Temple number 4, Master Muhammad's history, as well as Temple number 27, Richmond history. Today, we're going to highlight Temple number 10, the history of Atlantic City and their contributions to the nation of Islam. And as our leading host today, we have Brother Lester Muhammad. We'd like to welcome Brother Lester Muhammad. And Brother Lester, please give our audience a little bit of background about who you are and the work that you do in your network. Assalamu
alaikum. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Name's Lester Muhammad. I grew up here in Atlantic City, New Jersey. I came into the Nation of Islam, the social reform movement in the early 70s. We okay?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I see Kaleem Shabazz is in.
Yes, sir. I apologize for being late, Brother Lieutenant. And
okay. All right. I'm gonna hold this against you, but
the circumstances beyond my control.
MashaAllah, welcome. Everything happens
sir.
on time.
Yes, sir.
All right, we got the man. So I was just standing there until you got here, man. But I'm gonna go ahead and say a little bit for a minute. You know, I grew up here in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Muhammad's Temple number 10 was right around the corner from where I lived at, under the leadership of Minister Woodrow Love. This brother was the first person who was responsible for all of the recording of the Nation of Islam, audio and video and photographs during those early years of the movement. And what has happened here in Atlantic City is we've been able to preserve a lot of that history from those early days. And in fact, Muhammad's Temple number 10 is the first temple in the tri-state area of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. So it was before Philadelphia, it was before Newark, New Jersey, Camden, Wilmington, all of those temples that are in this area now, or at that time, or came after Muhammad's Temple number 10. And in fact, in the early 50s, my understanding from historian Dr. Reginald Goddard, who interviewed Minister Woodrow Love, and we'll be playing a clip of that interview. The Muhammad's Temple number 10 in Atlantic City, New Jersey was, during those early years, was the East Coast headquarters for the Nation of Islam. So Atlantic City has a lot of rich history. And as we go forward, all the way to where we are now within the last year or so, this is the first city that has a street named after Imam Waterthine Muhammad in the country, from my understanding. So that's just a little bit of background. And one of the other key pieces about our history in Atlantic City is this, that I didn't even know until maybe the 90s. Al-Haji Malik Shabazz in 1953 was here in Atlantic City under being taught or helped trained to be a minister in the Nation of Islam under the direction of Minister Woodrow Love. And I'm gonna let Minister Woodrow Love in that interview, he'll tell you that little piece, but I didn't know that. And a lot of people still don't know that to this day. And that's a very historical piece of our history. Atlantic City also, we had Muhammad Ali was in our city many, many times. He came here, supported us, he helped us even in those early years in the 60s, and then in the later years as he finished up his boxing career as a humanitarian and also doing community service. Whenever we needed him, he was here to help and support. So this city has a rich history of growth. And right now, there's probably about 7 or 8 Islamic centers here in this, within a 15-mile radius of Atlantic City, New Jersey. And there's a couple full-time schools from what I understand. So this way of life has grown by leaps and bounds. Kaleem Shabazz has been here, who is the councilman for the 3rd Ward and also the president of NAACP, and is also going back, it's a director of the University of Islam. This city had a University of Islam right here in Atlantic City. And also maybe on this call is the brother Dean Majid or Dean Harris. Dean was one of the first students who graduated from the University of Islam. So you have a rich history of people on this program today that hopefully will be able to share a lot about the Islamic movement here in Atlantic City.
Okay, thank you, my brother. Now, I was just looking as you were speaking, I was looking at Imam or Minister Woodrow's biography or obituary, and I see that he had an Islamic name, and his Islamic name was Ali Taladdin Muhammad.
Yeah, exactly. That was it. And in fact, you recall the interviews. You remember the interviews that you did here in Atlantic City?
Yes.
During that time. Yeah, this was all. Yeah, you did a great job, brother, in trying to tell the story of the Muslim community here in Atlantic City. This was like in 2010. So 2010, those when those articles came out, October the 8th, 2010, and October the 8th, in October the 15th, 2010. So there's a lot of history out there to print it, but that piece with El-Hajji Malik Shabazz, we did not know, and I don't even think you were aware of that when you did this, when you did that article. That came later on, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that interview that was given. There was a couple of sisters and also a brother, and there was other people there. But Dr. Ridgeland Goddard, who is a historian, sat down with Minister Woodrow Love, along with a sister named Gowanda Abdullah. These are both sisters from Atlantic City, New Jersey. And the brother who helped, that was there, that was helping Minister Woodrow, his name was Donnie Corbett. So they sat down with him, and we have, it's maybe over 2 hours of that tape. Of that video that went to sit down with him and talked about the history of this city and the Islamic movement in the city. So it's there for us. We have rich history.
So Khalil, you want me to do it? Play the video? You want to do it? Matter of fact, I think you need to do it because my mic is off on the computer. And I do see the link in the chat.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I'm preparing a video now to play right now.
Okay, good.
Got on my thing.
Are you ready? Are you ready to play it now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Give me 1 second. Then. Give me a few seconds.
Now, Brother Lester, while he's pulling that together, another thing that I found very unique when I was working doing with Atlantic City is that there was a sister named Laura Radad. She was a sister. She's retired in Washington, D.C.
Talk about Sister Laura.
Yes.
Kaleem, Sister Laura. Tell her about Sister Laura.
Yeah, Sister Laura was married to Minister Isaiah Kareem.
Yes.
And she was a dynamite sister. If you wanted to look up the definition of a Muslim pioneer, energized believer, it would be Sister Laura. And she was a mainstay in Atlantic City for decades before she went to D.C.
Alhamdulillah. Because, Isaiah Kareem and the son of thunder, James Shabazz, both of them came up out of Washington, D.C. under the leadership under the leadership of Imam of Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as well as Sultan Muhammad, who Milwaukee is named after. They were based in D.C. And before James Shabazz got up to Newark. He helped establish Islam in Richmond, Virginia, and he converted. He was the first. If you ever heard of a church being converted, the whole church being converted to Nation of Islam, it was under James Shabazz in Richmond, Virginia.
I heard that. Yeah.
Okay, are we ready, Khalil?
We are ready.
Okay.
All right.
This is a video interview of Minister Woodrow, right, Brother Lester?
Yeah, you got to go back though. Take it back to the beginning.
Yes, going back to the beginning.
Welcome to our weekly broadcast, Mr. Muhammad Speaks. This is Minister Malcolm X substituting as a helper for our beloved leader and teacher, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and broadcasting tonight from Muhammad's Mosque number 10 in Atlantic City, New Jersey. That's Muhammad's Mosque number 10 in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Assalamu alaikum. We welcome you, brothers and sisters, to Muhammad's Mosque number 10, to our Youth Day program. This is a beautiful night by Sister Bernice and Sister Glennis.
A beautiful night. Of all the days and nights of the week, Thursday night is the one we see. It's like taking a step toward progress. That's why we like Thursday the best. On this day, women of the black nation gather to discuss unity and not the weather. We discuss our strides that we have taken and the religion of Islam, which cannot be shaken. We learn how to improve ourselves and nation and thank Almighty Allah for leading us in temptation. We learn of the earth which we help to build, and we learn how to protect ourselves and nation. It's a beautiful sight to see the women of the black race sit in silence, charm, and grace, where there is joy and sometimes a feast, among hundreds of women where there is nothing but peace. All this is worth greetings, Thursday with a smile, but for Allah's love we would walk a million miles.
Lisa, Sister Maria, and Sister Lorraine X. I is for Islam. S is for our faith. L is for our Lord. A is for the advancement we are trying to keep. M is for the million to follow every day. Together they still Islam. Absolutely. Assalamu alaikum.
And I met Malcolm X at the convention in Chicago. And Malcolm came to me and said, brother, said, it's like all the other ministers sitting up there looking so beautiful. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to work. I want to work with you. And I want to stay with you. And so I said, I couldn't do that, brother, unless I got permission from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I asked, and he says, take him to make sure that everything would be done right for him. So I feel that he would be quite an assist to the nation. And so I told Malcolm what he said. When I got through packing up, I thought Malcolm was going back to Detroit where his brother was. And so Malcolm woke up and said, let's go. He came to Atlantic City. And the first time that he was privileged to go to Philadelphia, I appointed him. So he from Atlantic City. And then a minister passed, and number 7 in New York. And then his first appointment was from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he appointed him to go to New York.
Oh.
And
So
later
what
on,
years were they with? Like this was like
and
1950
later,
by that beginning?
yes.
50. Okay.
And later on, when you heard, brother, we pushed
They were back in the
in
40s
Atlantic
in Atlantic City. Because it's
And-
number 10 out of, double digit temples for years. I was always wondering, how did Atlantic City, little Atlantic City, get to be 10? I think Philly is 12. They got their number after we did. We're right behind Youngstown. I always kind of wondered.
If this history to last forever and forever and forever, those 7 years what we put in to make it number 10 is a history will last for that.
So we're going to talk about the pioneers
He's the
from that
10th
perspective?
temple that is connected to the history of the existing of the new nation. New nation. So many police, so many government officials surrounding the place we were meeting until no member or no one on the outside couldn't get in to hear anything because they were blocked. And that went on right here in Atlantic City for 7 years, and I wasn't able to hold no meeting for 1 month. And when they found out I was meeting there, they were threatening their father, children, wives, and everyone else who attended the meeting. And the mayor called all the ministers of Alliance and told them to sacrifice because they didn't want Islam nowhere in New Jersey. And all the preachers and all the people who worked for the city or had any government job couldn't come to no meeting, either their family. And they made us move the 7 years when they found out that we were holding a meeting there. That threat came to their family, and they had to put us out. And that's what went on with me and the other members for around 7 years. And the only way that they slowed down and they completely stopped, a brother came out of service, and his name Joseph, and he came out of service, and after he embraced Islam, he said, "Brother, I'm not going to use my privilege or education to say I'm going to buy the faith for you, for the nation."
Now, where was this place? What's the location?
419 Madison Avenue.
419 Madison?
Yeah.
The legacy.
You can stop it there, Brother Khalil, for a second.
Okay, it's paused.
Okay, yeah. Because the next part of that video clip will go into the renaming of the Imam Waterfield Muhammad Way at Massachusetts and Madison. So right now I'm going to turn it over to my brother Kaleem Shabazz and let him go. This is the man that really has the history of Atlantic City.
Do you want me to?
Before you start, Brother Kaleem, was that
Yes,
you,
sir.
young man, that was hosting those sisters on that first part of the video?
No.
That you're talking about what part of the video?
That little young boy that brought
Those guys are those guys went to school with me, and that
I'm
was
talking about
some of
the
the
young
youth.
boy, the young brother that brought the groups up, brought the sisters up, and brought the two sister groups up. The young
Right.
brother that was the host. He had the mannerism of Brother Khalid.
No,
Well,
no, no.
that's a
Khalid was-
compliment, but no, I wasn't there.
Okay.
No, that was actually probably in the 1960s when
Okay.
that happened. And those two brothers, they're brothers, and that's him and his other brother. They graduated from Atlantic City High with me, and I'm trying to think of their names now. I went to school with them, but that's not them. Yeah, that's not. No, that's not Khalid. Khalid was a little bit older than. I don't think he was. Yeah, he was in high school then, or close to it anyway.
But that's a compliment. I take that as a compliment, bro.
Alhamdulillah.
Yes, sir.
Well, Khalid, you know, when we talk about the history of the community, and one of the strongest things that I know talk about is the educational system. And you was the director of the school at that time. So,
yes, sir.
And you, I mean, when you talk about the sisters and the brothers that came up out of there under your leadership at that time, Brother Dean, Majid, Sister Victoria, Sister Prolitha.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead, man. So I'm gonna let you go, man. Go.
Well, first of all, let me say I think this is a great effort. We must preserve our history. I was just talking to a brother today, and even though we love our foreign-born brothers and sisters who came from other countries to this country, and we recognize them and we salute them, we need to remind them, not in a disciplinary or punitive way, but we just need to tell our story and let people know that because of the sacrifice of many believers who were not trained in Islamic sciences or Arabic or anything like that, but were but were sincere, dedicated believers. That's why people are flourishing as Muslims today in every part of our society and able to practice Islam without fear or hesitation. And that is due, obviously, to Allah's grace and Allah's mercy, but it's due on the human level, the manifestation of that, to what the African American body of the Nation of Islam at that time, and then the world community of Islam, and now to the community that supports the leadership of Imam W.D. Muhammad, and has progressed to a point where we understand how to implement Islam as a way of life. So that is what we were thinking about and striving for in the University of Islam. I was telling somebody the homeschool movement in America was really started by the Nation of Islam. When Sister Clara Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with her, said that she wouldn't send her children to school, to the public school. And from there started the University of Islam, which spread all over the country, which today we have people homeschooling because they think and believe that the public school doesn't align with their values and their worldview. So they're homeschooling. So that's what we were. When we did this University of Islam in Atlantic City, we didn't see the homeschool movement. We didn't see all of the manifestations of what we were doing. We just wanted to follow the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with him, what he was talking about with regard to independent school, with regard to teaching decency, morality, with regard to teaching what we understood of Islam at that time, with regard to preparing our youth for leadership. And as Brother Lester mentioned, we were successful to a very great extent. We have people who are leaders now in not just in the Islamic community, in the general community. Dean Majid, who was recognized as a leader in the technological community, Victoria Abdul Salam, who was a educational leader, and several other outstanding people in different fields of endeavor. So we could never dream that that's what would happen when we were in 419 Madison Avenue in two little rooms, trying to piece together a curriculum and to make a manifestation of what the teachings were as we understood them. So it shows what happens when you are sincere, even if you don't have technical ability, or even if you don't have deep material wealth or knowledge. But that doesn't mean that you don't learn. You know, like Muhammad said, he said, don't learn on us, go somewhere else and learn and then come back. So we are still obliged to become qualified and to move us forward as a community. But that's really many great memories of the University of Islam, what we did, the fact that we were really pioneers. Like I said, we did not realize the effect of what we were doing and the benefit of what we were doing. So I would say that it's really our job to sort of get that spirit back. And now that we have technical skills, now that we have the understanding of how to implement Islam, it's our job not just to give that to Muslims, but I would suggest that we have leadership traits and a lifestyle and understanding that will help this country out. And I don't think that anybody can disagree that this country badly needs leadership.
I mean, Kaleem, let me ask you this question. At that
Yes,
point, you've been a council member for quite a few years.
Yeah, going into my third term. Yeah.
How has it been as a Muslim being in the council and leading, playing a role as part of leadership?
Well, the Honorable OneStream Mohammed said, get with like-minded people if you want to make progress. And he said, and I believe, that a Muslim, if you are a good Muslim, you are a good citizen. If you're a good citizen, you're a good Muslim. If you're a good citizen, you can be a good leader. So I think when people elect me, they see leadership qualities in me, and they see that I can speak to their needs. Not obviously, but most of the people in my district are not Muslims. In fact, the greatest overwhelming majority of them are not Muslims. They're either Christians or they identify with no religion. So they are not electing me because of Muslim affinity, but I think they are electing me because I speak to their best values. I try to give them honest leadership, progressive leadership that speaks to where they want to go. I think it was said a long time ago in our community that you're a Muslim, you'll have money, good homes, and friendships in all walks of life. And I have the good homes and friendships in all walks of life. Lester has the money, but I think that's the reason that plus I try to serve my constituents, Brother Me. I'm glad you asked me. I think I try to serve my constituents. I try to be in tune with their needs, and I try to elevate the governmental conversation and day to day to the highest level possible. It doesn't mean I think I'm better than people. I don't. But it does mean that I think I should appeal to their highest motives, their highest ambitions, and not their lower ambitions, as we see some political leaders doing, making racial statements, making appeals to emotion, saying things that are obviously false to get votes and to get people riled up and to get support. I don't do that, and I will never do that. I would get out of government before I allowed myself to fall to that level. The same thing with the NAACP. I'm elected in the NAACP by majority of people who are not Muslims, but I think they see that I have a dedication to civil rights, social justice, and not that I'm perfect, but I think they can see my sincerity and my dedication, and that's why they've elected me several times as the president of the NAACP in Atlantic City.
Mashallah, excellent, beautiful answer. Yes. Really, couldn't ask for no better answer, my brother. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother.
Brother Lester?
Yes, sir.
This is your show.
Well, hey, listen. I'm just here. Actually, what I do best is just be a resource. You have in Kaleem Shabazz, the spokesman, not only for the community, but and he has demonstrated that over the years. And I'd asked another brother, Dean. I don't know if he's on the chat with us, Dean Majid or Dean Harris, who is his background is in information technology. But it was one of the students I think he was one of the first students that graduated from the university.
He was. Him and Victoria was.
Him and Victoria, yeah.
Yes.
But
and Perlitha too, who made a career in banking. I forgot to mention Perlitha. Yeah.
And now that he mentioned Sister Perlitha, her son, Andrew Parker III, I believe, is he the commissioner?
He's a commissioner, yeah.
Right,
county commissioner.
Yeah. So he's another elected official in the Atlantic County area that was born Muslim all through his family and the history. If Kaleem, if you could just talk about some of the pioneers that would go back. You can talk about Brother Yusuf, Sister Gertrude, Sister Florence, just some of those. Just give us a little bit about the history of those pioneers, Brother Joseph, about those, and the captain.
Captain Alfred.
Sister Captain
Alfred and his wife. Talifa. Captain Alfred was a longtime captain of the FOI, and his wife Talifa was one of my instructors in the University of Islam. I should say my instructors, one of the instructors that I was honored to work with. They were longtime pioneers. We had an outstanding group of pioneers, like I said, who were not steeped in religion, but they were steeped in good values and dedication. And a desire to move forward. And let me just say, Brother Me, you're a historian and a scholar. You should know that in New Jersey has the most Muslim elected officials in the country.
Yeah.
So we that's something I think. Not that you can't make a contribution other than to elective office, because you can, but I think that shows that people in New Jersey respect Islamic leadership, and it also shows that Muslims are in that field trying to make progress, and also obviously we're making progress in other areas, in business, in athletics, and entertainment. But I think it's when you have to go before the public and get elected, that's a particular calling. Everybody doesn't want to do that, doesn't have to do that, but it does show, in my estimation, that there is respect for Islam. People know that you're a Muslim, and they expect a certain amount of leadership from you, and they reward that by voting for you.
Kaleem, I agree with your assessment. Like New Jersey is a unique state.
Yes,
where
sir.
like last year is a state that celebrates, if I'm not mistaken, it might be the first state to celebrate Islamic Heritage Month.
I think it is.
All throughout, and I was blessed to travel to some of the cities in New Jersey, and like I was really shocked at Prospect Park,
right,
which has a Muslim mayor, and I think he's been a mayor for 18 years. Yes. As well as there's majority city council is Muslim.
Exactly.
I thought that was shocking. And then going through, I grew up in Islam through my experiences in Newark, and our community.
Right.
So I was going up in there, and I saw Patterson, New Jersey. It was the first. I've been through Dearborn and everything, but to me, in Patterson, New Jersey, in this little area, I never seen so much Islamic bling as a street.
Absolutely.
The influence is all throughout. So I do think that y'all have been able to penetrate politically
Right.
within that state. I think you had another local council person somewhere, Brother Small, more central New Jersey or Newark.
Yeah, he's not on council anymore, but he was on council for several years in East Orange, North Jersey.
Yeah,
he was a council person for several years, but there's several other councilmen up there now. And we had a unique activity with the Attorney General's office. He had an iftar that the Attorney General's office sponsored for Muslims across the state. And he paid honor to the fact that we in Ramadan last year. And he also had, we put out a calendar for law enforcement across the state talking about Ramadan, what happened during Ramadan, how they should interact with Muslims in general, but what to expect during the month of Ramadan. And I think that was a very significant thing. In New Jersey, the Attorney General is the highest law enforcement officer in the state. He's over all of the police departments, the sheriff's office, every law enforcement entity in the state of New Jersey is under the Attorney General. And he has proven to be open-minded, progressive thinking, and a partner for Muslims. And I think that is significant because I can remember back in the time when the police assaulted the Mosque No. 7 in New York, and then Mosque No. 27 in Los Angeles. So I think we've come a long way from that time when we have the chief law enforcement officer in the state recognizing Ramadan, sponsoring activities for Ramadan, and being open about that. So, in fact, he just had a call that I happen to be on for Muslim leaders as we come to the election, and telling people how they can report threats if they have threats or they have anxiety during the election. So I think that's part really of what the Imam said we should be doing. He said we shouldn't have to stand up and parrot his name and repeat what he said line for line, but we should be able to take what we believe and implement that in our daily lives so that people can see the value and the importance of Islam. In fact, I think a teacher once said that you have to keep telling people that you're a Muslim, that something is wrong with your lifestyle and the way you're presenting yourself. So yeah, I think that's important. I got off from the pioneers, but we had a great number of pioneers, brother, in Atlantic City who did great work. Sister Captain Eleanor, who was a captain of MDT for many years, a great sister who made sure that the sisters were instructed as the MGT and GCC protocol was set up, and also making sure that they were dignified and graceful. And Sister Delightful, like I said, who was the instructors in the community, Sister Lulabelle, who was a tremendous baker and a hard-working sister. And we had brothers like Captain Alfred, who was our captain for many years, outstanding, hard-working brother who always preached to the FOI about their duty as men, not only selling papers, but being hardworking, being industrious, being family people. We had Brother Joseph 5X, further known as Yusuf Ali, after the Imam came in, after Imam the W.D. Muhammad came in, who was a entertainer, and then became a educator, and then became a professor and a director at Rutgers University in the latter stages of his life. A great brother. He happened to be a tremendous friend and brother of mine. But he was one of the outstanding pioneers that we had. And the list goes on and on of people, hardworking people, sincere people who laid the foundation for number 10. And as Lester said, number 10 got their number in the Nation of Islam during that time before many larger cities here in New Jersey, like Newark, like Trenton, Philadelphia, the Delaware Valley. Atlantic City was number 10, which is a prestigious thing to have. We had over 70 some numbered temples at one time in the Nation of Islam. So Atlantic City was where many people were trying to go before they got there.
There you go. I totally agree. And the other thing, I want to go back to Brother Minister Woodrow, number 10 also, Brother Minister Woodrow, if I understand, he was the filmmaker for the Nation of Islam. He did all the videos of Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Nation Islam filming. Has anybody got any access to any of its collection?
Well, I can tell you this, Brother Amir. Allah has blessed us to have preserved some of our history on 16 millimeter film, going back during those times of the 50s and the 60s. And one historical piece that I have not seen yet in the public domain is footage from 1959 when the Elijah Muhammad, his son Akbar Muhammad, and his son Jabir Muhammad went to make Umrah in color. We don't have footage of them. We have footage of them overseas during that time. I have not seen that footage in the public domain. And once we discovered it, I was in Chicago because I spent maybe half of my adult life in Chicago before I retired. And I would interact with a lot of the family members of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And one day I was at a gathering and I had a clip of that. And I asked each one of the family members, the grandchildren, I said, do you ever recall seeing this footage of your grandfather and your uncles? They said they've never seen it. They've never seen it. So that's a project that we're working on now, trying to finish up developing and processing that 16 millimeter film of those times. And it goes back as 1959 and it's in color. It's in color. It's in color. So we have a lot of stuff that we're still processing. And, inshallah, as we continue to work on these projects. And with the team of New Freedom Works, just trying to get revenue and the equipment and stuff that we need to fully develop this. A lot of this stuff we have to develop ourselves now. We just can't send this stuff out to be processed. We have to start training ourselves and the community members, especially the young people, and preserve our history and tell our story. But yes, to answer to your question, we do have a lot of footage from that time that has been preserved, and it's on 16 millimeter. Also, some of the other pioneers, not only here from Atlantic City, but from around the country. I don't know if I mentioned I had spent maybe about 30 years in Chicago, maybe 30 years in Chicago. In fact, I left Atlantic City in 1975 and moved to Chicago. And I was blessed to to work in some of the businesses. Also was one of the secretaries at number 2, and I was under a brother out of New York, Brother Audrey or Brother Hamitullah Fahim, who was the Midwest Regional Secretary in New York, in Chicago, and also the Secretary of Mosque number 2 in Chicago. So I learned a lot from him. He was my mentor, and it was really beautiful. So Allah has blessed us, even as Allah called him back, and Allah forgive me for his sins and grant him paradise. He had a lot of the history of our community. I mean, literally a lot of the history of our community. And we're processing a lot of that stuff now. We're processing a lot of that stuff. He came into the community in 1958. And even to go back, to show you how it connects back, getting off Atlantic City, just the historical value of what we have, what we've been working with. He's also the brother of Brother Leon Forex Amir. And if you recall, Leon Forex Amir, he was one of the bodyguards or one of the security people of Al-Haji Malik Shabazz during that time. So Allah has blessed us, and we've put together a lot of the history of the community, and it has been preserved, and we've maintained it. And this is, I think that Minister Woodrow Love would be very proud of us for maintaining and preserving a lot of this.
Brother Lester, I hate to cut you for a minute, but I do got questions. I'm not sure how long we'll be still on. Is there contact information that you want people to contact you? Email, phone number, address?
I think what we should do is just finish playing the next clip. And in that, I think there's in that end of that clip, which deals with the renaming of Imam Waterloo Muhammad Way, since we only have a few minutes. And in the end of that clip, there is the New Freedom information in which they can make contributions and do some stuff with. All right, if we can play that clip, Brother Khalil, then we should then I would probably wrap it, because that's with actually the renaming of the streets with Kaleem and Sister Layla Muhammad came down, the daughter of Imam Muhammad, and I think that's a historical piece and another piece of our history. And we're going to continue to
great job, Brother Kaleem, and get
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Shout out to New Freedom for the work that they do.
That's it. That's it. Thank you.
Were we around minute 9? Which minute were we at? Because I had this.
Let it go. Let's go right there.
Right here?
Yeah.
Let's go. Let it play.
Okay. All right.
Stuff like this. So I thank you for allowing me to play.
I mean.
And we get ready to unveil the sign. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Council President, could you step here? Everyone who wants to get a picture, can you gather around this way? Mayor, Council President. Okay. Scout. This is for the family. Okay, let me show the audience. This is what we're giving Sister Layla. This is for the family. This is for the family. And it's going to be one on this corner and this way. And after we finish it, put one.
What year was this?
going to the family.
Face it up.
We're going to do the countdown. Where's the mayor? Okay. All right, we're going to do the countdown. We start at 5, and at 1, we're going to unveil it. All the photographers ready? All the photographers ready? All right,
Yes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
And I've just been told this might be the first street in the country named for this man. If that's true, we're going to start our campaign to make sure that happens. Again, we thank everyone for coming out. We thank the mayor, we thank the council president, we thank our public works, our workers, my colleagues on city council, for all of you. At 2 o'clock, for those of you that registered, and I thank Imam Mohammed for hosting it. Thank you, Imam Mohammed for hosting it.
Thank you. Beautiful job.
Thank you, man. Excellent job. Beautiful job. You unmute yourself, Lester and Colleen.
Thank you, Brother Amir. Thank you, New Freedom. Thank you, Brother Lester. Great job. This is what we have to keep doing.
Yes.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
There's contact information. Anybody want to announce the contact information to New Freedom?
I think it was just on that last screen, and I think the brother, it was on the end of the video clip.
Assalamu alaikum. It's also in the chat. We can be reached at our email or Gmail, newfreedomworks@gmail.com. Again, it's newfreedomworks@gmail.com.
Okay.
Brother Lionel, what work do? Type of work y'all do?
We can't hear you, brother, up here.
Brother Hassan, Bilal, I was asking what type of work do y'all New Freedom do?
Oh, yeah, we do. Our work is in the historical preservation work, community development. We are actually working right now on a documentary with the Muslim Voices of Newark, putting together a documentary about Islam in the city of Newark. So we do a lot of work in the preservation field, but also in the community development aspect. So if you have a story, if you have a city, if you have a project that you want to have documented, have filmed, or curated, we have that. We also have a mobile exhibit called the Bilali Night at the Museum, which is a walking tour through some of the history of the Nation of Islam to the present. We were blessed to have worked with the Queen's Museum with Sister Nzinga Knight and her residency in Queen's Museum, and we were able to partner and have the Bilali Night Museum for the first time in a major museum actually have people come and actually walk through it. And I hope curated. But Lester was there. But Lester Mohammed was there, who talked more extensively about the project.
Unmute, Lester.
Yeah, I mean, can you hear me?
Inshallah there. So we brought the exhibit down there as well. But Lester, you want something to say?
Okay, yeah, we're good. Good. I mean, you summed it up for our notifications. My job really at this point, like I told you guys.
But I want to thank everyone. May Allah increase our faith, increase our understanding. Is there any other questions, audience? Okay, see, like we have no questions. So may Allah reward us, continue to grow in faith and help and work together, help each other. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.